Clara lived in a world that revolved around one man she had never truly met, Aiden Cross. To most people, he was a pop star, a glittering face on billboards and magazine covers, a voice that filled stadiums and late-night talk shows. But to Clara, he was more than that. He was oxygen, the reason her heart beat faster every morning, the single thread that stitched her lonely existence together. Her bedroom walls were a shrine to him. Posters, glossy magazine spreads, even blurry paparazzi shots were pinned neatly in rows. Shelves sagged under the weight of albums, merchandise, and framed newspaper clippings. The room smelled faintly of old paper and scented candles she imagined matched his cologne. Every corner whispered his name, as if the very walls had memorized the rhythm of her obsession. She wasn't just a fan. She was the fan. Her phone buzzed every few minutes with notifications from the fan account she ran, Crossfire Clara, a community of thousands who lived for the tiniest crumbs of Aiden's life. Clara knew every lyric, every interview answer, every awkward laugh he gave when a question caught him off guard. She had memorized the tilt of his smile, the nervous way his fingers twitched before he strummed his guitar. To her, Aiden wasn't just a performer, he was hers. Yet, the deeper her obsession grew, the more hollow the public image felt. The glossy perfection, the PR-curated tweets, the polished photographs, Clara wanted more. She wanted him, the real man behind the filters and stage lights. One night, the breakthrough came almost by accident. She was scrolling aimlessly through social media when she noticed something odd. A photo Aiden had posted seemed familiar, but the background details didn't quite match the official ones shared on his main account. A reflection in a mirror showed part of a username, an account name she had never seen before. Her pulse quickened. Click by click, she followed digital breadcrumbs. A liked post here, a tagged photo there. Hours blurred together until suddenly, there it was. Aiden's private profile. Not his management-run main page. Not the fan-pleasing facade. This one was raw, hidden under a handle that looked meaningless to anyone else. But to Clara, it was treasure. Her hands trembled as she scrolled through. Candid photos of his home. Snapshots of meals. A half-written lyric in messy handwriting. His dog sprawled across the floor. Aiden was human here, stripped of the idol mask. For Clara, it was intoxicating. Every picture felt like a whispered secret, shared only with her. She wasn't one of millions screaming in a stadium. She was closer. She was inside. The discovery changed everything. Suddenly, she felt connected to him in a way no other fan could claim. When he posted a coffee mug on the counter, she noticed the faint reflection in the glass and studied the kitchen layout. When he captioned a photo with a single word, she dissected it like scripture, convinced it was a hidden message meant for someone, maybe even for her. Clara's life outside of this obsession was dull, colorless. At work, she filed papers with dead-eyed monotony, her earbuds secretly streaming Aiden's songs beneath her hair. Friends had drifted away years ago, their invitations unanswered, their texts ignored. What was the point of shallow friendships when she had Aiden? When he smiled in a livestream, she smiled back. When he wrote lyrics about loneliness, she swore he was speaking directly to her. But now, after discovering the private account, it wasn't enough to just watch from the sidelines. The more she saw of his unguarded life, the more desperate she became to step into it. It started with harmless daydreams, running into him at a coffee shop, brushing shoulders, sharing a laugh. Then the daydreams sharpened into plans. She noticed landmarks in his photos, brick walls, street signs barely visible, a unique tree in the corner of a shot. She opened maps, matched them one by one, like assembling a puzzle designed just for her. Each discovery pulled her closer, each new clue made her feel chosen. Her reflection in the mirror began to change. She told herself she was no longer just Clara, the girl who faded into the background at work. She was Clara, the one destined to know Aiden as he truly was. When she whispered his name before bed, it no longer felt like a wish. It felt like a promise. Late one night, phone glowing in her hand, Clara stared at a blurry photo he had posted, a glass of wine on a table, faint outlines of a window behind it. The curtains were half open, revealing a sliver of night sky and the faint suggestion of a street lamp. Her breath caught. She knew that lamp. She had walked past it once when she had visited a neighborhood rumored to be his. Her heart pounded like a drum. The gap between dream and reality had never felt so small. For the first time, Clara felt the pull of inevitability. Watching was no longer enough. Fate had left her clues, and she had followed them faithfully. Now there was only one step left. To find him, to see him, to claim the piece of him that was rightfully hers. And so, in the dim glow of her bedroom, surrounded by 1,000 pictures of the man she adored, Clara made a silent vow. She would hunt him down. Not as a fan, but as the one person who truly understood him. The one person who deserved to be in his story. The night Clara finally set her plan in motion, the air felt heavier, charged with a strange electricity. She had rehearsed this moment for weeks, whispering it into the silence of her bedroom like a mantra. Tonight I'll find him. Tonight I'll be closer than anyone else ever has. Her laptop screen glowed faintly as she double-checked the trail of clues. A blurry reflection in a wineglass had led her to a street lamp. A crooked tree in the background of another photo narrowed it down further. Finally, a delivery box, half visible on his kitchen counter, had revealed the courier service that catered only to certain neighborhoods. Piece by piece, Clara had stitched together a map until the picture sharpened, a secluded estate outside the city, far from prying paparazzi or screaming fans. Her hands shook as she stuffed her phone, charger, and a small notebook into her backpack. She didn't pack much else. No clothes, no food. She wasn't running away from her life, not exactly. This was different. This was destiny. By the time she boarded the late-night bus, the city was already a blur of flickering neon lights and half-empty streets. The windows rattled as the bus crawled farther from the urban glow, into roads swallowed by trees and silence. Clara sat alone in the back, heart pounding in time with the engine. Every passing mile felt like another layer of her old self peeling away. By the time she stepped off, she was no longer just Clara. She was the one who had found him. The road ahead was quiet, lined with looming oaks that seemed to lean inward, their branches like bony fingers reaching across the pavement. She walked quickly, her sneakers crunching on gravel, eyes scanning for landmarks she'd memorized from his posts. A crooked fence, a mailbox with peeling paint, a driveway that seemed to vanish into darkness. Her pulse quickened when she saw it, the gate. Wrought iron, tall and sharp, with vines curling up its bars. Beyond it, a winding path disappeared into the trees. The air smelled faintly of damp earth and pine, but underneath it, Clara swore she could smell something else, faint cologne, like the one she imagined Aiden wore. She gripped the bars of the gate, pressing her forehead against the cold iron. He's right there, just a walk away. For a moment, she hesitated. Her rational mind whispered warnings. This is trespassing. This is dangerous. You don't belong here. But the louder voice, the one that had guided her this far, insisted otherwise. You were meant to be here. He'll understand. He's been waiting for someone to see the real him. With trembling fingers, she pushed at the gate. To her shock, it creaked open, unlocked. The sound echoed too loudly in the stillness of the night, and for a second, she froze, convinced a guard dog or alarm would sound. But nothing came. Just silence, thick and suffocating. She stepped inside. The gravel path stretched on, swallowed by shadows. The trees above blotted out the moonlight, leaving only fragments of silver on the ground. Each step crunched louder than the last, until Clara felt as though the entire forest could hear her approach. Her backpack weighed heavy on her shoulders, but her mind hummed with a giddy mix of fear and exhilaration. Halfway up the path, she thought she saw something move between the trees. A shape, tall, still, watching. Her breath hitched, and she stopped dead, straining to listen. But when she blinked, it was gone. Just the wind, she told herself, just her nerves. Still, the feeling lingered, prickling at the back of her neck. Then she saw it. The mansion. It rose out of the darkness like something conjured, its stone walls pale under the thin wash of moonlight. The windows were mostly dark, except for one faint glow on the second floor. Clara's chest tightened. He's awake. He's there, right now. Her footsteps quickened, almost tripping over the uneven stones as she hurried closer. The front door loomed, massive and carved with intricate patterns. She stood there, staring at it, heart hammering. All she had to do was knock. He would open it. He would see her, and in that moment, he would understand. But her courage faltered. What if he didn't? What if he called her a stranger, or worse, security? She couldn't risk being turned away. Not after coming this far. Her eyes darted along the side of the house. The ivy-clad walls rose high, but one window on the ground floor stood slightly ajar. A breeze stirred the curtain behind it. Clara's breath quickened. It was an invitation, she was sure of it. A hidden page of his life, waiting for her to turn it. She crept toward it, every sound amplified, the crunch of leaves underfoot, the rustle of branches overhead, the wild beating of her own heart. When she reached the window, she paused, hands trembling. Her reflection looked back at her in the glass, wide-eyed and pale, as if silently asking, "Are you really doing this?" She pushed the window open. The hinges groaned softly, and cool air swept out to meet her. For a moment, she simply stood there, frozen, the line between fantasy and reality blurring until she wasn't sure if she was still dreaming. Then she climbed inside. The room was dark, the air heavy with the faint smell of wood polish and something sweeter, wine, maybe, or cologne. Her sneakers sank into plush carpet. She pressed her hand against the wall, steadying herself. Somewhere above, a floorboard creaked, and she nearly stopped breathing. He was here, Aiden Cross, the man she had followed across pixels and posters. And now, finally, she was in his world. But as she stood in the silence, listening to the faint hum of the house, another thought slipped in, cold, unwelcome, but impossible to ignore. What if he already knew she was here? Clara's heartbeat was so loud she swore the whole mansion could hear it. The air inside the house was heavier than the night outside, dense with silence that seemed to watch her every move. The dim glow from a single lamp in the hallway stretched shadows across the walls, making the house feel alive, breathing, listening, waiting. She moved cautiously, her sneakers muffled by the thick carpet. Every creak of the floorboards made her freeze, ears straining, but the house answered only with stillness. She passed framed photos, Aiden smiling with bandmates, candid shots from tours. But up close, the smiles looked strange, brittle, as if the glass itself distorted them into something unnatural. Clara whispered his name under her breath, almost a prayer. Aiden. And then she heard it, a faint sound from upstairs. A soft thud, followed by the slow drag of footsteps. Her breath caught. He was awake. For a moment, her courage faltered. She was trespassing, an intruder in the home of the man she loved. But the thought didn't last long. He'll understand, she told herself. He'll see I'm the one who truly knows him. Driven by that conviction, Clara followed the sound, climbing the wide staircase that curved upward like an invitation. The wooden railing was smooth under her palm, polished but cold. With each step, the air seemed to grow thicker, until her chest felt tight with anticipation. At the top of the stairs, a door stood slightly ajar. Light spilled through the crack, warm, golden, intimate. She pushed it open, her breath trembling. Inside, Aiden sat in an armchair by the window, a half-empty glass of wine in his hand. He wasn't in the glittering stage outfits she was used to seeing, just a dark t-shirt and sweatpants. His hair was slightly tousled, his eyes fixed on her as though he had been expecting her all along. "Clara," he said. Her stomach dropped. He knew her name. "You," her voice cracked. "You know who I am." Aiden tilted his head, lips curling into a slow, unsettling smile. "Of course I do. You've been very busy, haven't you? All those fan accounts, all those messages. You've been watching." Clara flushed, torn between pride and shame. "I had to. You don't show them who you really are. But me, I see you. I've always seen you." He set the glass down on the table beside him and leaned forward, elbows resting on his knees. His eyes gleamed, but there was no warmth in them. They were sharp, predatory, like a cat watching a mouse that had wandered too close. "And now you're here," he said softly. "In my house. In the middle of the night." Clara stepped closer, her voice trembling. "I just wanted to meet you. Not the stage persona. Not the idol. You." Aiden chuckled, low and dark, and the sound sent a shiver down her spine. "Do you have any idea how many people say that to me? How many fans claim they're different, that they know the real me? But I am different," Clara insisted, desperation creeping into her tone. "I found you. I followed the signs. You wanted me to find you. Why else would you leave those clues?" For a moment, silence hung between them. Then Aiden rose from the chair, moving slowly, deliberately. He was taller than she expected, his presence filling the room like a shadow stretching over her. He stopped just inches away, his gaze locking onto hers. "What makes you think you were the hunter here?" Clara blinked, confused. What do you mean?" His smile widened, sharp and chilling. "Did you really think I didn't notice? That I didn't see you dissecting my photos, tracing my locations, watching me closer than anyone else? You weren't following breadcrumbs, Clara. I was leaving them. Her blood ran cold. Every photo, every reflection, every faint detail she thought she had cleverly uncovered. What if it hadn't been accidental? What if it had been intentional, bait laid out piece by piece? You wanted me here, she whispered, horrified. I needed you here, Aiden corrected. He stepped closer, close enough that she could smell the faint wine on his breath, the cologne she had always imagined. But now it smelled suffocating, cloying. Fans like you, they're the easiest to find. The easiest to draw in. You come willingly. Clara's mind spun, panic rising in her chest. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. He was supposed to understand, to love her for her devotion. Instead, she felt like prey caught in a trap. She stumbled backward, but Aiden's hand shot out, gripping her wrist with surprising strength. His smile never faltered. Don't go now, he murmured. After everything you've done to get here. You wanted the real me, didn't you? Not the stage version. Not the idol. Well, this is me. Tears welled in Clara's eyes as the reality sank in. She hadn't hunted down her idol. She had walked straight into his game. And he had been waiting. The last thing she saw before the light overhead flickered was his eyes, cold, gleaming, merciless. The eyes not of a man, but of a predator who had lured his prey exactly where he wanted her.